welcome to Landscape Rescue. My name's Stuart Moore, and today I'm at Lowe's doing a shopping video. All right, so one of the first things I wanted to show you guys is, remember a couple of weeks ago we saw some field potted plant material. Now field potted, to give you a little bit of a recap, field potted is it's grown in a field, they use a tree spade, they pull it out, and they put it in a pot. It's not pot grown. A lot of times the reason nurseries do that is it's a little bit more sustainable, right? So that's in a pot, they can put it on a pad, and then they can sell them as they get orders. The difference is water retention ability, but you're not getting any extra roots. If you remember when I said the roots that were sustaining all of this top mass are still in a field, the field of darkness. So I wanted to show you this right here. So you can see that's just soil from the field. It's probably had about 90 to 95% of its roots pruned off. So it's going to be very important to keep these watered, feed them, beneficial fungus, beneficial bacteria. Dr. Earth Gold is a good one to do that with, or Biotone if you can find it. More field potted AutoLucan Laurels. I've also heard people call them skip laurels before. Average height 4 to 6 feet, 6 to 8 feet wide. $87 for a, let's say a 10-gallon AutoLucan Laurel. $87. It's an evergreen and it flowers and it does relatively decent in shadier locations. I like the AutoLucan Laurel. In captivity it has a tendency to get what's called buckshot, but in the landscape it's really not that bad. I think it's a matter of airflow. I mean, you're really gonna have to mind your P's and Q's with this guy. If it's field potted, you're gonna have to mind your P's and Q's. Just be warned that there might be some dieback during transplant because it's very difficult to get all of the soil out of that pot without really disturbing the root ball too much. Guess what this beautiful lady is? An Ito. Dun dun dun. So Ito Peony, I-T-O-H. And this is Bartzilla. It's a Monrovia 5-gallon. The price here, $104. $104. Half of this has just been broken. You see that? Half of this has been broken. While I'm doing my normal clearance round, make sure I'm gonna snatch anything up over there, which I most likely will. I saw some good stuff. And I hear two folks over here talking. Older lady, younger lady, mother and daughter, obviously. And she says, "Mom, you should plant this in your garden." And I saw this flower from all the way across the Lowe's, all the way across the garden center. I saw this and I walked over and I said, "Is that an Ito?" They didn't know anything about it, so we started talking about it. They got it for 50% off. So they ended up spending $52 on a 5-gallon Ito, which is a pretty good deal. Being that at my nursery, they're 87. And it's 104 here. Same 5-gallon Monrovia Ito. Same thing with this one. So a lot of times, if there's any kind of damage, you can go ahead and ask the cashier. And the cashier is most likely authorized to do that. And if not, she'll go get her shift manager and they will talk about it. Itos are a cross between the tree and the bush peony. And they have very, very strong stems. This is the one you just go ahead and you smack it and it pops right back up. And I'd sell one. I'm so proud of those ladies. They walked over here, they saw these, it's a little banged up. They know it's gonna grow out next year. It's gonna be absolutely phenomenal for them. And you know, plant a little Russian sage in front of this bad boy, and you know, by the time this is kind of done doing its thing, Russian sage is gonna be up. Itos, what a beautiful plant.
Fall to mine is the only one, reading in stars like a sign of glory to come. Glory to come.
Ooh, Lowe's, your rose game is strong. These petals have aged a little bit, but this is the Coral Knockout, which is a relatively new addition to the Knockout series. I like the Coral Knockout a lot. So, I mean, you've got the old standby, the pink knockout, and the double pink, the double red. You got the sunny border knockout or sunny knockout. I don't know why I keep throwing border on there. Telling you what, I like doing this stuff. So I'm back on the clearance rack and I saw this hellebore. Doesn't look like it's in very good shape. Hellebore is very resilient. This is Frost Kiss, Anna's Red. I have this at my nursery. Now, $20? $20 for a 1 gallon plant? Whew. Yeah, at $20, that puts us into the 5th tier, and you're looking at 50% off. So $10 for a hellebore, especially a named variety like that. 2 gallon for Cynthia. This is Linwood. Yeah, this is a Linwood Gold for Cynthia. It is retails for $24.99. So that takes us again into the 5th tier, 50% off of that. So you're looking at $12.50. Not that bad of a deal for Cynthia, because these grow quick. 2-year fertilizer tablets on a bad boy like this, tighten up your bootstraps. There is a whole flat of these red beauty dianthus. And from what I can tell, it looks like a Firestar dianthus, which is kind of my go-to for those smaller ground covering dianthus. Not so much as the upright with the big giant flowers. These have smaller single petaled flowers. So red beauty dianthus, it's $4.48 normally, which is going to take us into the 2nd tier, which is going to mean these little quarts are going to be $2 a piece, and that's a really good deal for a perennial. Karagami, light blue and white Columbine by Monrovia. It's 5. So these are like little, I don't know what size they would technically be. 1 quart, I guess. A 1 quart Monrovia, so a named variety. Look at that flower. How can you not be in love with Columbine? Anyway, and just the leaves look cool when they're not blooming. I think the seed heads are neat. Look at those seed heads, kind of add a little extra something to them. But $5.98 normally, which takes us into the 3rd tier, which makes these $4. Not necessarily a bad buy, but I am gonna pass on it personally, because if you guys follow the channel, you know that I have one little strip of shade that's about 1.5 feet long, and I haven't pulled those hostas out yet. So Columbines, I really don't have a place to put them. And they'd probably be fine for a little while until those summer suns started really beating down on them. So some things I wanted to show you that I would definitely pass on, and you've heard me talk about this before. You're going to see a lot of these Asiatic lilies that are done blooming, right? So clearly Lowe's understands that people buy things that are blooming, and now this is done blooming. It's not going anywhere. So $5.48 again takes us into the 3rd tier, which makes this $4. There is 1 lily in here. There's 1 lily. This one is Tiny Bee. 1 lily is not worth $4. You see what I'm saying? Because I can buy 3 lilies for $10 during the spring swell bare root. I can even make more of an investment and do mail order bare root lilies and get tons of them for a lot less than $4 a piece. So think that over. They do kind of have a cool texture in the landscape. Relatively short-lived when it comes to blooming. I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying that. I don't want to look at this for the rest of the year, so I'm going to pass. Look at this monstrosity. It looks like it's in a 10-gallon pot, 10-gallon Monrovia Star Magnolia. This thing is pretty impressive. Now, you know, in my climate here, we have there's a lot of turmoil. Let me just say, the springs are very confusing. And if you get frosts after these blooms. This is a star magnolia, so this is the one that kind of has these unkept, kind of twisty petals that are white, beautiful, deciduous. I do like them when they're blooming. Unfortunately, like a lot of white flowering perennials, when the petal is done or you get a late frost, they turn into what I like to affectionately refer to as a used toilet paper tree. So it's rough. It's rough. What else is rough is I'm going to tell you the price of this bad boy. $194. $194, you could get a balled and burlapped version of this that's 6 feet tall. Oh man, they're pretty and they like full sun, and I've got a spot where I could put one. I'm not going to spend $194 on it though. Would I come back and take a cutting and clone one? Yes, my moral compass would pass that check. I feel like we found some new candidates for the clearance rack. Check this Columbine out. This is called Winky Red and White Columbine. Now it has been very, very, like unseasonably warm, 90-degree weather here. Where usually we can hold on to spring just a little bit longer, especially being last week I was wearing hoodies and jeans and freezing my butt off. So welcome to Missouri. But these are covered in powdery mildew and they're done blooming. So when I think about scouting out what's coming in the clearance, the next round of clearance, this would be the kind of stuff that I would look at. Some neem oil, they sell it here. They sell the neem oil here. Couple applications of neem oil in the morning. It's done blooming, so we don't have to worry about pollinators. I mean, you've got it fixed up. But, you know, for $7, I'm not going to buy one of those for $7 when it's completely covered in powdery mildew, and then I'm going to have to buy another product in order to fix it. But I will do that when this goes down to $4 if I had the room. But then again, I mean, if I was going to do that, I'd buy the ones that are over there right now. These are just a lot bigger. So I got all excited. I saw this plastic pot. Check this thing out. It's light. I mean, it looks like it's heavy, but it's super light. It's plastic. Doesn't even have a hole in the bottom. $42.98. $42.98. Jeez Louise. I looked at that, I saw that sign, I about passed out. Jeez Louise. I kind of need a pot. I kind of need a pot, but that pot is so stinking thin. You can tell it's just nothing but cheap plastic. I have to drill some holes into it. I'd probably have to insulate it with expanding foam or something on the inside. Give me a little bit of insulation from the heat and from the cold if I wanted to do perennials in there, which is my intent, would be my intent. You know, it's almost like go with a whiskey barrel or something like that. I mean, not to mention the fact I'm gonna probably spend another $30 on patina paint. Whatever. What are these whiskey barrels? These giant whiskey barrels are $42.98. So, I mean, other than the ease of being able to carry it around, and those pots were big enough that you wouldn't be able to carry it around. You'd need a dolly or something if you had it full of soil. But, man, I mean, it's kind of a ridiculous price for a bunch of cheap, blown-in plastic. Dumb. Fungicide 3. This is going to have neem oil in it. Which neem oil is a miticide, a fungicide, and an insecticide. It's an oil, so what I would say is go out in the morning before the pollinators get out, and be very careful when you're doing this in full sun, which is difficult sometimes when powdery mildew is followed by some rain and then some high heat and high humidity. But go out early. early and hit it up. I always like to kick things a little bit and get all the praying mantis and all the good stuff out of it. Unfortunately, sometimes when you kick them, all the Japanese beetles escape too, but for the most part, I'll take Japanese beetles if I'm saying praying mantis and I'm saving ladybugs, and I'm saving and all that other stuff. I use this sparingly because it is a contact killer and it will kill any insect it touches, right? So active ingredient is 0.9% neem oil extract, 99.1% other ingredients. It's neem oil. That's what it is, neem oil. I mean, I consider that organic. It's from the neem tree. You guys remember when this exact same size of Roundup was $14? $21.98. Glyphosate has gone way up. All right, so this is a Black Beauty Elderberry. Oh, Black Beauty, dang da dang. Oh, Black Beauty, dang da dang. Probably could use a little drinky poo. But I do like elderberry. Elderberry gets big. It can handle the heat. It's got that purple colored texture. It's got the pink flowers. When I say it gets big, yeah, 8 to 12 feet tall and wide. Elderberry is not for the small front yard, unless you plan on trimming it. But remember, when you're trimming something that wants to get 12 feet tall and you're trying to keep it 4 feet tall, there's an 8-foot difference there. You're gonna start getting diminishing returns. You're going to get older, the shrub is gonna get older and stronger, and eventually the plant usually wins. And then instead of admitting defeat, we pay a landscaper $800 to pull it out because we need an update. No, we need to plant the right plant for the right place. Okay, I'm buying this frog. It is too adorable to pass up.